What's going down, everybody? This is your host, Zoe, with the 10's Hip Hop Unfiltered podcast. I am here with a couple of the homies as usual. We got my boy, Kennawayne. We got Henny God, and then we have a special guest with us today, Lonnie Rowe, man. Y'all make sure to go like, subscribe, everything. We're definitely still, trying to come up in this game. So we appreciate all the love. But before we get right into it, Lonnie, man, let's just kind of, give the people a chance to know you. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man. How's everybody doing? My name's Lonnie Rowe. I'm a mixed engineer, videographer out in the Atlanta area. Graduated from Full Sail with a degree in recording engineering. Work with a lot of artists in the industry right now. And I'm just appreciative for y'all having me on the show, man. Shout out Kennawayne, my dog. You know what I mean?
Hey, what's
and
good, big dog?
I've been chopping it up with these boys, man. And I think it's going to be a good show today, man. Thank you for having me.
Hey,
anytime.
Definitely blessed to have you, man. And just so y'all know, we always have some post or I guess pre taping, conversations, and we had a good one. That could have been a whole podcast on its own. So, I definitely think we're in store for a good one. But as we always do at this time, we usually jump into the throwback joint. We got a good one this week, y'all. We got Lil Wayne's 2006 mixtape, The Drought 3. And Kennawayne, since you were the one that actually, requested that we kind of do a look back on this, I think it's only right that we start with you, brother. Let us know how you feel about it, man.
Obviously, I fuck with it. But I really think, in my opinion, this is the number one mixtape of all time. And that's just my opinion. But this really propelled Wayne to the next level. He was always saying, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. And then this nigga jumped on everybody's fucking track. Here's the list. Beyonce, DJ Khaled, T.I., Nas, Kanye, Snoop Dogg, Mobb Deep, Jay-Z, Big Pun, Sierra, Jim Jones, Cameron, fucking Swizz Beatz, Boozy, Jeezy, bro. There was more. Like, he hopped on everybody's song to say, I can do it better than you. And then he did, for the most part, better than them niggas. While eating gummy bears. Y'all know how the fuck I feel about eating gummy bears. This nigga was just snacking on them bitches. And he started with This Is Why I'm Hot, which that year, that song was wild.
Yeah.
And Ride for My Niggas will always be my favorite Wayne song, hands down. But this just kind of, turned everything around for him. Not that he was not already, but he just like shot up, and it just like, I remember feature after feature, and after that it was over. It was mixtape Wheezy. He was like them lighters, and it was over, bro. So
man.
It did a lot for him. And I mean, I'm not gonna say it might not be y'all's favorite mixtape of all time, but I felt like this legitimately was a mixtape. Like, it wasn't no rhyme or reason to it. Shit, Young Nicki was on this bitch. So, man.
Yeah.
3 times platinum. 3 times platinum, right? I think it went 3 times platinum.
Yeah, and this is one of those perfect examples of, when there really was a true distinction between mixtape, album. We knew when we were getting that mixtape Wheezy, because it definitely was a whole different animal, I don't think it's a stretch, man. I was actually going to hop on here and say, this is definitely, for me, it's a top 3 mixtape all time. The true mixtape era, especially post 2000. To me, this is, a top 3 mixtape. You got to have it up there. And Wayne probably is in that top 3, maybe with another mixtape in there, with No Ceilings or something like that. It's definitely something that, kind of brings back a interesting time in music where he'd get on those tracks a lot of times, and he would not only beat Jack, you wouldn't even know the original song half the time, or you would forget about, who the original artist was on that track, So I got to give it to Wayne on this one. It still, brings back goosebumps whenever I do bang it, in the whip or just bang it in the house. It's Wheezy at his finest, man. And, this was kind of like right as he's making that rise to really have that crown as top artist in the game. And the last thing I'll say is I really do feel, sorry for kids who didn't get to come up in that era or get to see that type of Wayne, man. It was a different animal.
What I really liked about is, like, this era, you knew you could make a hit, but you had to go as hard as you could on the hit, because you didn't want Wayne jumping on your hit and making you look bad. Mm-hmm. Like, so it elevated just music in general.
Yeah. Fact.
Wayne's
Lonnie, man, what'd you think of what do you remember about the album?
I love that time of Wayne, man. I really got into Wayne around the Carter 3. You know, like that album went like 3 times platinum. I think it was the I think it went like best album of '09 that year. That's my senior year. And he had
same.
I think he had 1 million records sold in the first week. On that album. Yeah. So like, you know, some of those mixtapes before were catalysts to like, you know, Wayne is dope, and you know that he's coming, and then you start hearing stuff like that, and you just see him in the mixed history as one of the greatest rappers alive, man.
Yeah, that's a fact, man. Henny, you know, we used to bang this all the time. So what was it out there in New Braunfels for the 7-on-7? Yeah, man, 7-on-7, man, and we used that Drought 3 got plenty of play. What did you think, just as you were kind of going back and playing it this week?
First, my high ass went back and listened to the Dedication 3 before I went back and reread it. Forgot how fire that hoe was. That hoe twice before I went back and read. So let me just get that out. That whole fire, that might be a later pick for me, just for that reason. But
he has some bangers,
that Drought
man.
3. Same shit, killing everybody track on that hoe. Like you said, man, it's sad. Like people just graduating now, like they didn't get that prime Wayne. Like they don't know, like the live from the 504. Like nigga, how many times we rap that shit in the locker room? Everybody, you know, that nigga killed that shit. Like it's classics on here, nigga. Like.
I think that's one of the reasons people don't get why I'm such a big Wayne critic now, because, you know, I'll hear people say, oh, Carter 5 was so crazy. And I'm like, man, y'all don't know Weezy. Like, Carter 5 was okay. It was an okay album. It was long as hell. But when you grew up with this type of Wayne, there's just some things that don't really measure up, you know, to that standard anymore.
Yeah, it's like seeing MJ play with the Bulls. And we see one way, and we see, he was great with the Wizards in the NBA, you know, but that's not the Bulls MJ. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're not seeing the same MJ we did.
But don't forget though. It's like, okay, you see MJ play with the Bulls, and that was greatness. And you see him play for the Wizards. It's like, yeah, it's okay. But the reason why you're saying those cake, because you're used to seeing him play with the Bulls.
Yeah,
they're still, you know, I don't know. There's still Manu Ginobili sitting over there too. Like, you know what I'm saying? He not Manu Ginobili though. You know what I'm saying? He's still better than Manu. So that's one thing I see about Wayne. It's like when I see Wayne, I see Wayne has to progress as far as like his sound. But one thing about Wayne that I always respect is that Wayne is one of the first people that I ever remember being on like rap rock songs since like Run DMC.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's always pushed the envelope in that type of manner. So I think genre. So for me, when you listen to Wayne's music, even when Wayne drops a project, you have to listen just to see if there's something on there that might shock you, because he's known to do it. And shock value, like if you got an artist that can create that shock value, he creates value for himself, where, you know, some artists is like, you know, I know what I'm gonna get. I know what I'm gonna get. I'm not gonna listen to this. It's gonna be the same. To me, Wayne doesn't do that. Wayne has one of those things where he might have a record on there that don't sound like, you know, Kanye's one of those people too. It's like when you listen to Kanye, you hear this sample and all of a sudden it morphs down to this low bass, and then all of a sudden it's another song.
Stronger,
minimalistic, something else, especially like on Yeezus. Now, tell me if y'all agree with this point. And so, you know, two artists that I usually compare, and it's like we bring them up every episode, but it's hard not to. It's like Wayne and Drake, because they were the GOATs. And when I say GOAT, I mean in every aspect, as far as not just on paper or what the music was doing, just even accolades. Like of the early 2000s, I would say that 2005 through 2010, Wayne was the most popular rapper.
Wayne went to jail. Like that's when Drake took over. Wayne put out like a lot of shit to still be relevant, but then that's when he really like turned that shit.
But that, like, I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and Antonio Brown was the #1 wide receiver, and Juju Smith-Schuster broke records that year. You know, being #2 to AB. So when you ask yourself that question, how much of Drake's success came from Lil Wayne at that moment in time, because Lil Wayne was the hottest rapper at that moment in time.
Right.
Not taking anything away from Drake's accomplishments and his skill, but to have somebody
Wayne definitely put him on.
To have somebody put you through the door like that. This you didn't get put through the door by Juvenile. You got brought through the door by Lil Wayne,
by the most popular rapper in the world at the time. And now and I think that's why Drake doesn't necessarily mind a lot of times helping put people on these days. But one of the things I would mention is this. So, and this is my personal opinion, I think Wayne, and it's hard to say this because he was the biggest artist at a point, I think he was actually held back in a lot of ways. When you think about his label not supporting that rock album that he put out, they didn't really support it the way that, an artist of Wayne, regardless of what you feel as a label,
that nigga shouldn't have no restrictions,
or Universal. When you get to the level of Wayne, my label I get one. I should get one record where I get to do me, because I've already sold, I already went platinum first week, and they didn't support that rock album. And that was crazy to me, where Drake could pretty much do anything now, because obviously we see when it works, it works. And I don't know whether y'all agree with that, but I feel like Wayne didn't get the proper support at the, in post prime.
I think I agree with that, but I also think that it takes people like Wayne to go through situations like that for people like Drake to learn from and to not make the same mistakes. Like we were talking about earlier, knowledge is power. So, it doesn't matter how many records you sell if your business, if the contract doesn't deem it so for you to be able to get one. I know you would like to get one, but if your contract says you can't get one, you're not getting one, bro. It don't really matter. That's why athletes that feel like they outdo their contract on that haven't finished their contract renegotiate if they felt like they outplayed their contract. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it just depends on what you agree to. That's a good segue to, if you're dealing with any type of thing where you're selling anything, just make sure that your business is correct. Too many people are neglect their business mindset. They're not business savvy not because they can't be, or not because they're dumb, just because they neglect to really pay attention to the details.
No, that's a fact.
Oh, go
ahead, bro. Go ahead.
It's always a positive to look at people that have been successful, because Wayne put Drake on, and that's probably a big platform. But Wayne tried to put all these other people on, and where they at? You also got to work. Dr. Dre put Eminem on, and Eminem put 50 on. But there were other people in between there that faded.
And it's how much of the game you're gonna soak up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's one thing to be there, and some people sit around for the crumbs to fall off the table. Some people are like with their hand out, waiting for the success to come. Like, because I know him, this is gonna go my way. It ain't always like that, bro. You got to go get it yourself. You just happen to be in the right place now. Now you got to make it happen for yourself, make it shake. I mean, you saw what happened with Drake. Drake was put literally on a roster with about 7 other artists. And it's like, whoever comes up out of this, kind of lyrical gauntlet or lyrical gladiator type moment, is going to be the cream of the crop. It'll figure itself out. And you see now, even Nicki Minaj, like, when you look at all of them, I mean, Drake is a bigger artist than Nicki Minaj right now.
Yeah,
but typically most guys are bigger than women in general.
Well, but it's also funny because it's like this. I compare it kind of to like football, where football, you could be a DB, receiver, you could be any skill position, right? And let's say you're a 4-star recruit, whatever. That's a prime position to be in, because let's be real. So Drake coming into Young Money, he wasn't just some no name. He had the acting career, and he did have mixtapes out prior to. So he had a little cash, especially in Canada. So now y'all stick with me here. He had a little cash coming to the game. He was a 3-4-star recruit, right? And then you think about it in terms of like a quarterback. You see a lot of times QBs where if there's two 4-star QBs aren't going to the same school a lot of times, where you have to have that mentality really where sometimes you'll see a 5-star and he'll go somewhere where there's, a good starting quarterback, and then there's an a second
A
string
sophomore,
a good quarterback.
Yeah.
That quarterback's banking on himself, and he's saying, I'm going here not because of politics, that, if I go somewhere else, I'll be the automatic starter. I'm going to come out on top because I have that belief in myself, and I think that's one of the things Drake did have, because to your point, Lonnie, he wasn't just going to a place that had a platform for him to just shine. There were other artists on there that were waiting on their time, and he didn't just sit back and say, okay, I'll wait for my time to, play itself out.
And I think, it's also the branding. Like, right? Like there's two moves. There's two moves that I know that strategically come in my mind. Like when Wayne got into jail, when he got arrested.
Yeah.
Do you remember the video that Drake put out? He was like in that, like, it looked like that hotel ominous room, and you could see like Lil Wayne's like rapping, but it looked like he was behind some cell bars or something like that, and he was having conversation talking about like, like, I'm next up, like the king got taken away, but I'm gonna be the one to kind of make sure this shit stays lit.
Yeah.
That then you kind of felt like the underdog. You're like, oh yeah, Drake. Yeah, Wayne ain't down. If you're a Wayne fan, you're like, you better hold the house down. You know what I'm saying? He the one feeding everybody. You better make sure we stay up.
That nigga on everything that summer too. He was on every feature.
Right. Same thing with what's my man, J. Cole. Him being with Rock Nation and being underneath Jay-Z. You remember he had that little intro that was like, Jay-Z was talking to this nigga right now eating cereal. You know what I'm saying? He gonna be next up, blah, 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 blah. Then he dropped his song. I mean, like, there's a certain way, if you're gonna be the predecessor underneath the king, that you have to do to gain the throne. And you can't do it through backstabbing. You got to do it through hard work and soaking up what you've learned from that person ahead of you. And I know he learned a lot from Wayne. He credits it to a lot of things. A lot of people, they'll have conversations with the person that they used to be underneath labels with, and that relationship is sour. He has a really good relationship with Lil Wayne. I saw them on a podcast the other day. Lil Wayne had his own podcast. He put Drake on there. He was talking with Drake, and he was like, yeah, we need to get into the studio. And immediately Drake was like, shit, I'm gonna send you something right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you asked Aaron Rodgers how he feels about Brett Favre. He don't fuck with Brett Favre, bro. He didn't like how Brett Favre treated him when he went in there, because Brett Favre viewed him as the starter, himself as a starter. He didn't really want to kick too much game.
I ain't teaching that nigga shit.
Yeah. Supposedly, I wasn't in the room, but you asked Aaron Rodgers. This is what Aaron Rodgers says, and Drake doesn't have that type of relationship with Wayne. It's a healthy one, because I think Wayne looks out for people.
No, that's a fact, man.
Or at least he looked out for Drake.
Yeah, that's a fact. I think he tried.
I also think it's a comfort level.
Yeah. No,
Wayne was comfortable being on the top. If you like looking back over your shoulder, worry about a nigga passing you, then that's kind of where shit happens. Wayne wasn't
also,
worried
the
about
talent was there.
passing him. Yeah,
the talent was just there too. The talent was there for Drake, where you could, it was apparent for, and that's definitely a major part in him being successful. Obviously,
they did that whole big ass tour, that Wayne versus Drake.
Yeah,
that shit,
right.
Street Fighter thing. That shit was fire.
That was hard.
And
Yeah.
So a lot of these kids don't know. So we just had to, we had to talk about Wayne just a little bit, but interesting segue just in one of the things you mentioned there, just even talking about the business side of things. So here recently, Nick Cannon made some comments. We won't really get into the comments that he made. And we know, for those of you who don't know, Nick Cannon's super successful businessman, has a lot of different ventures. He's getting to that big bag. And he's been getting to the bag, for those of you who don't know. But, in the aftermath, I guess he didn't apologize in the correct way that Viacom would have had him do. And Viacom CBS, who, has merged within the last couple of years, they terminated their relationship with Nick Cannon. Which isn't out of the ordinary. People terminate their relationships all the time. But one of the bigger things that we want to kind of talk about is that the Wildn Out IP, the intellectual property of that, is actually, I guess, majority at least owned by Viacom, and Nick Cannon is demanding the release of said IP. So, you know, obviously when we get into business and we talk about music or you know, just the movie industry, not owning your IP or not fully owning your IP, you know, is a thing. So, Lonnie, I think you can speak to that best, just as far as giving some insight. You know, obviously we know they don't have to give him back the IP, but what do you think should happen in the situation?
Man, that situation is very okay. So, from what I know, not getting into the comments, but basically, Nick Cannon says something about, I guess, Jewish people,
Fact.
and that when I watched the comments, there were certain things I still felt were true. You know, that he was saying. I felt like it was on his platform, and he had his right to be able to do that. Just like it's Viacom's right to be able to terminate the relationship if that's what they choose to do.
Do it.
You can't tell Viacom who they can hire and who cannot fire. That's their own prerogative. Just like you can't tell Nick Cannon not to say what he wants to say on his own podcast. I think the problem about it is that when you look at Viacom as a company, they started with Nick Cannon and they grew up together as you know, partners. And for Viacom to back out on Nick Cannon, me personally, I felt like I kind of felt like his comments weren't as
I thought they were
serious.
Skewed. They were
yeah,
skewed.
like I feel like you don't have to cut the relationship with Viacom because of the relationship. I mean, if you ask me as a black man growing up in the world, there is a long history of violence by white people on African Americans. That's not something that's like, that's a fact. Is you can look up, you know, it's a fact. You can look up different websites. Charlemagne has a good one. I think it's like blackhistory.org or something like that, where you can look at the lineage of people and African Americans, you know, story
being brutalized,
of being brutalized and being, you know, killed by people of white descent. So what he was saying to me is I hear it, but for them to back out, you know, he made a comment. Nick made a comment that said they're trying to silence the black man. You know, I don't know. I think it's because they felt the pressure of everything that's going on as a company, because a lot of those Jews run offices there as well, and they kind of took it a way of, you know, they don't want any racism at any point to represent their company. Where I think they missed the kind of message that Nick was trying to get across, and the relationship between them two. They should kind of know the message that he was trying to put across. Mm-hmm. Also, I think it's Nick's fault because Nick has to find a better way of being able to interpret what he's trying to get across. There's a certain finesse that goes with having these conversations. Charlemagne also brought up another one that I thought was great. He was saying, you know, how you can try to avoid some of that. Maybe have a Jewish guy that you're talking to about this situation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're gonna have conversations about Jews, why don't you have it with a Jewish person, so that if he does feel offended, he can also speak his mind and speak his point of view, so that you can have that healthy discussion on air, so people can feel like, Jewish people at least, can feel like they also have a voice in the room.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe you might avoid some of that confrontation. But, you know, he was also talking about a script. He was talking about a lot of things. You know, I encourage people to check it out. But, you know, the one thing that stands out the most to me, too, also with Viacom, is Viacom said that he didn't apologize. That's false. Yeah, Nick Cannon did apologize. Viacom didn't accept his apology because they didn't like the way that Nick Cannon apologized. Mm-hmm. If you ask him to apologize, that's one thing, but now you don't like the way he apologized. You know, what I want to know, what was the criteria they wanted Nick Cannon to do?
Yeah, they wanted him to read a script. Apparently, that's what it feels like almost.
but he wrote something already. He wrote paragraphs saying how he felt about it and how he's making. He felt sorry for what was said if they took it any type of way. That he's integrated in the Jewish community, having conversations with them. That he's going to try to bridge the gap between African Americans and Jewish population. That he called the CEO of Viacom and they wouldn't answer the phone for him. There's a lot of things that's being said and this, and my thing is this, dealing with back to your topic, the IP of Wildn Out. When you deal with the IP of Wildn Out, it's similar to Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle was on the Chappelle Show. The Chappelle Show is not the same without Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
And I think Wildn Out could be a successful platform to put different comedians in and pay different comedians. But I think some of the wittiness and some of the topics that are being discussed and the games that are structured around the reason why that network is successful is a direct result of Nick's mind. So you could do it again. I think Nick will learn from not owning his IP. I think the only reason why he didn't is because he came up with that. That was the starter company that he came up with. And I think he can do it again. It's not like he's not on other networks right now. He's currently, that's what I had a conversation with somebody else said. They're like, what is Nick going to do? Dog, Nick is rich, bro.
Yeah.
Just because Nick is not on Wildn Out, he's still on. He had Dancing with the Stars. He had America's Got Talent.
Yeah,
he had the karaoke thing where they put the mask on and then they reveal themselves. Nick is a talented and highly sought after actor, host, type guy.
So young Steve Harvey.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine, but it's unfortunate that Viacom stepped away from him like that. But I mean, they're entitled to do so. Nick Cannon. He'll bounce back, even if you call it that a bounce back. I think the issue is not of the bread. It's not of if he's in financial hardship or he can't get another job in the near future. It's the fact that his baby is now owned by somebody else and they can do with it what they please. And they're trying to cut him out of it because of his comments. And, it begs the question, do you think he was right? Do you think that was well within his right to be able to say what he felt?
Yeah.
You're allowed to express your First Amendment right, but when you express your First Amendment right, you will be criticized.
Yeah. Yeah. Henny, that's some great points you bring. Henny, you've been a fan of Wildn Out for a long time, man. What do you just kind of feel about the situation, adding on to what Lonnie said?
Yeah, definitely. With them trying to go forward with it, it ain't gonna work. It definitely ain't gonna be the same. No matter, they can throw in any new host, it's just not gonna be the same. Everybody knows Nick literally created Wildn Out.
And he's become synonymous with that brand. That's one of the
when people say Nick Cannon, that's the first thing they think of is Wildn Out.
Not Drumline, Wildn Out.
Everybody's the dude Wildn Out, the host, Nick Cannon. Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Do you think that Nick Cannon can make another form of Wildn Out and it be successful? If Viacom can't,
he could just add. He can add an S to it if he wanted to. If he chose niggas.
If Viacom can see, so we have a consensus that if Viacom cannot make Wildn Out successful without Nick, but Nick can make another Wildn Out successful because it's Nick.
Yeah. Well, and the same people not gonna want to fuck with it no more. On top of that, either they gonna leave with Nick.
Yeah, and he will have to be careful.
Them on.
He will have to be careful though, because as we know in business, there are some things where he would have to stay away from. Even if he makes another IP under a different name, he will still have to stay away from certain certain segments and things like that.
Yeah.
Games names will have to be different. Now, here's one thing I would bring up though. Just in the landscape for today's creators, I wouldn't say, it's by no means perfect, but I think you are in an interesting position because I think, let's say, hypothetically, had Nick Cannon started Wildn Out today, you probably put a little bit of your own money into that and you put that directly on YouTube or something. But
he said He said that it came out of his own pocket. See,
Well,
that's the thing that Nick Cannon
but then
said.
but that's what I'm saying though. In that instance, you shouldn't really even need. Obviously, at the time he started, you did need Viacom. I'm not, I want to be clear. So your point though, if I'm putting my own money, you see now, content creators are going. Hey, it's not quite direct to consumer because YouTube is that medium, but it is more direct to consumer, and you own the IP. So
yeah, but he was going big. See, that's the thing. I think the reason why he's in the situation that he is in now is because these outlets and these platforms weren't there that.
That's what I'm saying. Hypothetically, now if he had started, because I mean, YouTube is Google, so that's as big a platform as you can be on, and I think you can make. We all know you can make a show work on YouTube, and it can be huge.
They got a game show now.
I mean, Joe Rogan has done numbers on YouTube, and it's just visual him talking like we are. Now, you add a show element to that, Nick Cannon could make that work big time on the YouTube platform and then just retain it. Because the last thing I'll say before passing it to Kennawayne, this is a striking resemblance to anybody who's familiar or unfamiliar with the Barstool deal. The Daddy podcast thing. They would upload to IG. It was their IP. They went to Barstool. Barstool said, we're going to break a little bread with y'all, but we're going to own a large percentage of the IP. So this is not unusual. People do this even now when they want to use a platform like Barstool or Viacom to project, because you're not going to be, you're not doing the numbers without, Barstool. Yeah. So
it's just the heat. It's just they felt the pressure of the Jewish community and felt that his comments were racial insensitive. But it all stems to the comments. And to me, his comments, some of them are a little, little wonky, but some of them I think have valid points. And I think you're allowed to express that, but you also got to realize that you're under criticism. But with that same thing is how you say it. And what you know what I'm saying? Like, you can talk about these issues and they should be talked about, but it's how you say it and who's in the room with you. I just felt like the Jewish community felt like they didn't have a voice. And if he would have did it with a Jewish guy of some type of magnitude, he has resources. Nick could have did that easily.
That's a fact.
He did say he
but I mean,
shit wrong.
It was all in conversation with the dude from Public Enemy who wrote a book that was some familiar over there. So it stretched those topics, it brought that conversation out naturally. So it's kind of something that, I don't think Nick intentionally went in there to try to piss people off or try to talk racially insensitive.
Outside of the context, it's like you can easily say, he's being, and he was more so not even talking about Jewish people. It's what's funny.
Right. And back to the fact of it is, he did apologize. He might not have done it the way that the network wanted him to do, but he did apologize. And he did release, what he wanted to do. So
he took the video down and everything too.
Yeah, so for Viacom to just cut ties after that long relationship, it's
telling.
Yeah.
It's very telling.
CNN people will be wilding. They still got their jobs.
Yeah. Kennawayne, what do you think about the IP, man, and just the whole situation?
So, first off, we always say when we hear somebody apologize, it's forced apology. They really don't mean it. So it kind of sucks because he apologized in the way he wanted to that was really meaningful. And Viacom was like, that's not good enough. The next aspect y'all kind of touched on is I think he can go do everything he did at Wildn Out on a new episode. Because now Viacom has to prove that he wasn't the creative content behind those ideas. True. He grew up with them. So you have to say, did Nick Cannon come up with this creative content for Wildn Out, and he just transferred his ideas to a new episode to show? They have to legitimately prove that he was not the creator of the ideas. Now, there's writers behind the scenes. We all know that.
Right.
But the idea, the main aspect of the idea and the show is Nick Cannon.
Yeah, he's one of the main writers.
That's what I'm saying. But they have to prove, like, if he just goes and says, I don't know, 1, 2, if that's the new show name, and it has everything to do with the other show, all the same people, they have no right to say, well, they stole it from me. No, I stole it from myself.
Right. And I think he has relationships with the comedians. I think he has a relationship with the comedians on his show where
Fly said, I'm riding with you.
I can see that as a possibility, Kennawayne. Like him starting a new show up, like you said.
And then if you have all the comedians going with him saying, well, this was his idea, then you already, like, you have too many things against you at Viacom. But I will say I do understand Viacom, what they had to do. Whether he made the comments or not, I think it's not what he said, it's how he said it. And like you said, I think if you have a Jewish person, because like episode, I want to say 3, when we had Crystal on, we talked about women. The reason we had Crystal on is because I don't want 4 guys talking about women without a woman's perspective to be like, hey, nah, I don't think that. Whether, because we say what the fuck we want, but it's also, we're not a woman. I will never have a woman's perspective.
Right.
Unless you know, I try to be Caitlyn Jenner, which you know.
I know he's about to say something else.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
But I will say, it's just like me. I have a job. I go to Honda, and they let me be myself. But I can't just be sitting there, be like, with a customer and be like, hey, nigga, you know what I'm saying? You want to buy this shit or not? You know what I'm saying? I have to be a professional.
Right.
I also know I can't just go around saying most random ass shit at work because they got to protect their business.
Yeah, the brand is higher than everybody.
You know, right. And so it's like.
But the only thing about the argument of that is that, yes, Viacom has to protect their brand, but Kennawayne, you're saying this right now, right? If you say, don't repeat anything that I say, right? So if you say Toyota sucks on your own platform right here, and then you go back to work and you're at Toyota and you're saying that Toyota is the best cars, right? But Toyota saw your podcast and decided to fire you. Is that fair? You said it on your own personal podcast.
But it might still be fair. Because
legally
you're still putting it out there for people to see, even though I get your standpoint. Now, one
because
interesting thing
working for that company.
Yeah, you're in an entanglement.
You're hurting their ass. You're hurting them. You know what I'm saying? You're hurting them in a sense.
Yeah.
Now, granted,
so that's where this kind of stems to.
It's a little different than that because, let's be honest, who watches MTV for anything other than Wildn Out? I can't tell another fucking show on MTV other than Wildn Out. Maybe what's that? The kids.
I don't even watch it on YouTube. I don't even watch it on.
I don't even know if that shit's going. Okay, well, shit. See, I don't even. Like, it's like.
If Catfish still comes on there, I think people might watch that. Well, here's one thing that's really telling to me is when somebody makes a comment, because you have to be fair all the way around, right? White, black, Jewish, whatever. But I feel like whenever someone makes an insensitive comment, in a lot of cases prior to the last few months, when somebody makes an insensitive comment, maybe against blacks or Latinos or anything like that, there has to be a big public outcry for them to say, okay, we're going to sever our relationship. The telling part here is that there wasn't a big public outcry and they got rid of him. So it does show some sort of power structure that he may have been referencing to, where you didn't see people up in arms until they actually were like, yeah, we're going to, I mean, there were people up in arms, but not like the way that.
I think it was more televised after Viacom released their statement.
But also you kind of want to get ahead of it too. You know, you don't want to, Viacom's not doing this until
you're fired.
This. Because it's like, it's almost like Breonna Taylor. Like Breonna Taylor, the cops, they haven't been arrested. Like, if they would have been arrested straight off, we'd have been a lot happier. So it's kind of that instance too, not in the same sense at all.
No, but I hear you. Anything that comes now is reactionary. You're just reacting to the fact that we're still on your ass.
Yeah, you're reacting to the people where they kind of are like, well, this shit.
The Ahmaud Arbery would have been the one probably where they didn't arrest anybody until that shit got a little limelight. And then they said, okay, we'll go ahead and look into it. Not because y'all are mad, but it was. So you make a great point there.
But they also have a point to try to stay. And I think, again, it's with everything going on around us that made them maybe get ahead of it. Because forever, like the Redskins, forever everybody's like, change the name, change the name. And now everything's going on. Now the name's changed.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day is that I don't think Nick Cannon as a human being personally decided that he wanted to attack Jewish people on his podcast.
Yeah,
I think it was a situation of talking to a man, having it, within the context, and that was some of the results of the conversation. Viacom saw the conversation, decided to cut ties with him because of that conversation, which were they're well within their right to do. I think Nick tried to apologize for what he was trying to do and mend the relationship with Viacom, and Viacom told him that that wasn't an option, and now they're forced to go their separate ways, and best of luck to Nick. I think Nick in the process in the future that if you're ever going to do something like that, I think that to properly plan it and make sure you say it a certain way, but in the podcast he does say, let me watch what I say because I don't want people to take it and go do this and this and that. So I mean, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't type of way. So that's why my stance is, if you have, just like Kennawayne said, if we're going to talk about females on here, it's best that we have a woman with us so she can voice her viewpoint. And if you're going to talk about Jewish people and your standpoint on what you think that they believe or our type of hierarchy or whatever the case may be, maybe you should have a Jewish guy on your show.
Yeah. And I think the big thing is he's going to learn from this. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody's criticizing him. Like, you could say something wrong. We've all said some stupid. If you go look back at your Facebook post from 7 years ago, you're like, damn, that shit sounds stupid.
Right.
Because you've grown and you're like, okay, I mean, well, I kind of mean that, but I shouldn't have said it that way. I just think he made a mistake. He's going to have to learn and grow from it. I don't think he's going to have any issue. Diddy's already hit him up and said, come to Revolt. So, I mean, I don't think there's any issue anywhere with him getting job, money. That's not the issue. Right. I think Viacom did what they had to do. I think Nick Cannon apologized out of his heart, because no one ever says anything negative about Nick Cannon. They might make fun of him, but no one ever says anything negative. So I think he apologized out of his heart. It just wasn't good enough for Viacom, and so they just have to go their separate ways. And to
the point that I bet you in future, even if he goes to Revolt and he has a conversation with Diddy, I bet you one of the priorities that Nick Cannon is going to hold in his arsenal is that IP share account. Yep. That's one thing that Nick Cannon is going to take top priority in on future endeavors with him. Because you are selling his likeness, you are selling his ideas.
Networks, though.
Yeah, it definitely is harder. But I mean, if you're gonna do it, you got to be Nick Cannon. Like it would have to be Nick Cannon because he's on multiple networks. He's dealing with multiple networks. So if you're gonna sell an IP address, you might have to go somewhere. Or I mean, that's the same thing with artists and their masters, right? Yeah. Like you can get into the big, mainstream, but keep in mind these labels wanna. I mean, NBA YoungBoy is going through the similar thing right now, like with his label. He was saying that, just take the 4 albums and I'll give you the 3 albums or 4 albums. I don't know what it is. You can take them. You can profit from them. Just give me the masters. And they said no, because they know how NBA YoungBoy is going to do. They know he's going to sell. They know he's going to do numbers. So it's like, me as a mix engineer and a videographer, what I encourage young artists to do is to, make sure that you own the masters and the rights to your music so that you can profit from it. If I sell anything in the world, if I own 100% of it, I can get 100% profit. Now, if I sell 50% of it, that means that I lose 50% of the profit. So even though it might get exposed more, but people, when you tell them that, they're like, okay, what's 100% of nothing? Still 100%.
Yeah,
what I'm saying? They're like, it's not making
conversation though.
They're like, it's not making money, but you still own it all. So make sure you try to, just because it's not making the required amount that you want it to, doesn't mean that it can't.
But again, that's banking on talent versus, and a lot of other factors where, you know,
Mhm.
like you said, 100% of what you're making, where a lot of these independent artists are cleaning up house. Sometimes you're still not getting the exposure. I think some deals are right for certain people. Like, you know, I think some of
Mhm.
these artists are terrible, and I don't think their music's going to live on. So I think having maybe the deal where you're getting more on the front end is good for
Mhm.
some of these artists, because no one's
Right.
going to be coming to you to ask for your song in a movie. Now, an artist like a Kanye, or a legacy artist, or even somebody who like Future, who's great at songwriting, you know, it's probably in your best interest to, at some point in that deal, have it to where you're going to own those masters, or you're
Mhm.
going to retroactively be able to get, you know, your first albums, or your, you know, second, third albums
Mhm.
out of a
I mean,
deal,
Little Pump did
kind of like
it.
Taylor
Little
Swift.
Pump did it. I think they said Little Pump's deal was dumb. I kind of disagree. I mean, like, you take it. You take a kid who doesn't have that much money. A company label goes to him, tells him they're going to give him $30 million. You tell any kid that doesn't have money that they're going to give you $30 million. That sounds really freaking good. So you sign for 30 million. You get the 30 million, and they make 100 million off of you on streams alone. Yeah, you missed out on all that money, but you got $30 million. That $30
And
million
yeah,
he took and he invested back into his product and was able to make more residual income for himself apart from the label. So it's all how you get the what you signed for and how you invest it back. If you take the 30 million and you blow it on a car, you're screwed.
yeah, exactly. And it just really boils down to your business mindset and acumen, and, you know, the team you have around you. But great conversation about that one, y'all. You know, shout out to Nick Cannon. Hopefully, you know, he's. I would love to see him get that IP back. You know, I definitely think he deserves it. But again, like we said, business is business. Whether, you know, he was dealing with Viacom or anyone else. As most of y'all know, pretty big happenings this week on, what was that, Facebook TV, the Facebook platform. We
Ooh,
had
Lord.
Jada's Red Table Talk, where she had my boy Will all the way out there, man. Uh, you know, a lot of opinions going around on social media, you know, Black Twitter, just on how
Oh
that
shit.
went. You know, we were waiting for it, and it came in pretty short at 12 minutes and a little change. So that was kind of surprising. Um, it was interesting, to say the least. So let's just quickly touch on just kind of that red table, where she did admit to a relationship with August Alsina during a
Entanglement.
down period, an entanglement with August
Yes.
Alsina. So let's be clear. Kennawayne, man, start us off, brother.
Oh Lord, man, there's gonna be hoes out here saying entanglement from now on. She done. Oh my God, she belonged to the streets.
Hey.
Um, nah, it was actually surprising because I mean, I thought, okay, it's a, you know, August said it. No one really paid too much mind to it. I think if they would have never brought it back up, it'd have been under the rug. So White was out, whatever.
Mhm.
It's not me. That's not my relationship. I've heard a lot of people say that. Um, but she was just kind of skating around the shit like it's not really my fault. I was like, nah, we ain't gonna talk about this shit.
Will
It's
even had to
on
correct
you.
her, like, relationship. What were y'all in?
Yeah, he was like, what do
Shit.
you mean by this nigga was sick? And the memes, bro, I'm sorry, I hate black people, but
He
I
deserved better than
seen
that.
there was one that came
Oh
up that
man.
I started cracking up at work. It said, my nigga Will can't even kill Jada because she gonna go see Tupac. I was like,
Wow.
I'm
Oh
done.
man.
I left. I said, I'm done with this shit. I can't stand black. I can, but I can't stand y'all niggas. I mean, it's just one of those things, man. Like, you know what? That's their relationship. I won't talk on anybody's relationship. If they're happy, it is what it is. But that nigga said he gonna get her back, so I am tuned in for that.
Yeah, let's see
Hey,
that.
Larry.
Let's see that for sure. Lonnie,
Oh
man, I know
man.
you saw the red table, heard a bunch about it. What'd you think of the whole situation, brother?
First of all, think of you if everybody that wants to be famous in the world. Imagine being famous, something going on in your relationship, and you have to tell the world. You
Yeesh.
know, everybody is so involved in it that you have to say something publicly. regardless if you talk about it with your spouse inside the closed doors. Crazy.
That's
you know
all.
what I mean? Me and my girl was talking about the red table as well. To me, it's like this though. One fact that I found weird. Will Smith says they had this conversation 3 to 4 years ago. It's old to him. But August Alsina was just on the red table 2 years ago.
2 years, yeah.
So I don't know what's kind of going on, man, with that dynamic. But I think something happened before that because Will says he was done with her at a certain point. To me, though, it's like this. I don't know how y'all view marriage, and I don't want to, get everybody riled up. But to me, it's like this. As a dude, right? If I want to hit the streets and go sleep with some females, I'm going to go do that, right? When I decided I want to get married, my conversation is different. I'm done with the game doing that just because I'm not finna get married if I want to run the streets. That's just who I am. I'm not, it's just that simple for me. I don't know, like, it's too easy to go out there and have monogamous relationships and do all of this without having that hassle of having to answer to somebody or feel bad about doing what you're doing, right? So if you get into a relationship with somebody and you're married, to me, what confuses me is, okay, y'all done, but on paper, you're legally married. So why do you think that it's okay for you to be able to go and have this relationship with August Alsina? Plus, I've never had any type of sex or I don't know what to say. I don't want to say the P word, but you know what I'm talking about. Entanglements. I ain't never had no entanglements that was so good in my whole life that made me say that I was okay with dying and I feel fulfilled and all of this kind of yada, yada. And I think that it's kind of ironic or perfectly planned or genius, if you would, to drop your album and then say that you had a relationship with Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yup, I said that shit. I said it.
Wow. You're using the promo, man.
There's
that shit last week.
What's going on?
Well, but people forget he came out with a single like a year ago where he talked about it, and it got discussed a little bit, and then it was kind of is he talking about Jada? Yeah,
and to Kennawayne's point, like when she was having her conversation, she sounded like she was dismissive, like she was like, yeah, this kind of happened, but hey, it's because I've had tragic things happen to me. Like, nah, man. I could say a lot of shit too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
she was being real earnest in that conversation.
Will Smith did say, "I'm done. I thought I was done."
Nah, hold up.
But it's not done yet.
I'm just gonna say from the other perspective is, we don't know how far they were done. Like we're getting a divorce.
You're 100% correct.
So that's why
we do know how far they were done. They didn't get a divorce yet.
Yeah. But here's my thing also. Let's talk about this, like, man, because Lonnie brought this up. It's double standard right now because if this was flipped on his head and Will Smith was out here with a 20-something-year-old girl who had been
they would murder him. They would murder him.
Let's add to this. Remember, she was nursing him back to good health, who was ill. If he had taken advantage, they would have been killing Will Smith. They would have been calling for all his movies to be.
Because that's her son's friend, not even just a 21-year-old. Her son's
But it's this double standard. And Will did not look comfortable, bro. He didn't look comfortable, and she was glazing over his feelings on that. And if that was me in that, and I would have been great glazing over a female's feelings, they would have said, "Oh, this nigga wrong. Kennawayne, you're wrong. She didn't say it was okay."
Did she apologize to him? No. Did she apologize to him on the red table?
No.
But then again, we don't know. Again,
yeah, right. That's but I'm saying, what I'm saying is this though: if you're gonna publicly tell your relationship because you feel you're obligated to have to, then you should probably show your audience and show everybody that you are publicly apologetic to your spouse.
You know, it was weird how they ended the shit.
I was just
bad marriage for life.
I was just about to say, no, the way they ended it, bro, that shit was so cringy. I was watching it like this, like these niggas hate each other. They look like they hated each other at the end.
But Will Smith is the thing about Will Smith is this though. You do with anybody, and I applaud Will for this, right? So just like, I don't know about any other alpha male out there, but when you have a female that sleeps with another man, your pride is hurt. And you can either feel a certain type of way. You can feel like it's not yours anymore. You don't want it to belong to you anymore. You want to cut ties. You don't want to have anything to do with it because you feel like it's been spoiled or something like that. Mm-hmm. Or you could get over the fact that you love this person and you think that they love you and that certain things like this won't ever happen again. Will Smith, man, took it on the chin and said it that he doesn't believe in divorce, that he was going to work through it with her. And when you realize that you have a family and that you're going to work with a woman regardless of what she does, man, it takes a real strength from a man's perspective. And I applaud him for that, trying to keep his family together. You know, I wish that she would have, I don't know, share that sentiment or make her viewers feel that sentiment while she's on her table. Because when she's on her table, she does a lot of stuff with other people to kind of make them feel certain sentiments and different things.
Like how she did Snoop Dogg.
Right. It felt like a different Jada when you're there because you could tell that she was embarrassed about what was going on and everything like that.
Zero accountability.
Zero. Like,
it was just accountability.
It was your fault because I didn't feel good, Will. It was your fault. You told me you were done, Will.
Zero accountability.
Yeah. That's all the thing is. And I feel like right now in the world where when somebody tells you they're done, any young girls going out, you know, dudes make mistakes, females make mistakes, whatever. For when you're with your partner, if somebody says they're done, sometimes they could be acting out of anger. Sometimes they could be mad. And because they tell you they're done, don't take that bit of information and decide that you're going to do something just because you're mad. You know, because you might have regrets about it or have to come out on a red table and talk about it later. So to me, it's like, you know, people go through fights and make sure that you stay in the fight, though. As soon as you bow out the fight, it's a different thing. Sometimes you got to go through a little something to get what you need at the end. And to me, she kind of used his, like, he was going through some type of, you know, issues his own right, because you could see that he got some issues in his own right going on there, dropping how he is on the interviews to leave this to the world. He got his own little set of issues, so I get what she's talking about, how she wanted to help him and given the history of what Jada, but that doesn't give you the right to go sleep with that man, even if you were done with your husband because you weren't divorced yet. And like, from my
it's
outside
your
looking,
friend's mom, bro. Like,
I mean, and from me looking on the outside, I mean, looking in, you know, when you look at that type of relationship, it's like, I mean, Will Smith seems like a solid dude. And he could pretty much get any woman that he wants. It's Will Smith. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he's not going to do bad. He got Jada Pinkett Smith. I mean, his wife before it was pretty fine. I mean, I know there's a lot of actors out there, or actresses, I mean, that would like to court, you know, him. So we're going to see what happens. I don't know what he meant by that, Kennawayne. What do you think he meant by that? He said,
I don't know, but I'm
going to get you. What does he mean by that?
I don't know, man. I really thought about it because just naturally you want to say, oh, he going to go clap somebody's cheeks. That's what you first
He sounds like he already has.
Hey, did you see? Okay, so did you see the video?
I'm going to get you back.
Did you see the pictures? Did you see the pictures of him with the chick that played Harley Quinn?
Yeah, I've seen him.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen him.
She's kind of fine, too, now.
But
I think they was reaching with that.
It's because he said it, and you just like, okay, automatically he clapping these goddamn cheeks. I don't think that was it. So I'm going to tune in because now because that nigga looked like what was the Pursuit of Happiness? That nigga, I ain't never seen that nigga depressed like that.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, you skim over stuff and you go in depth in topics on your red table. You had an affair with August Alsina. It's just, I felt like
entanglement.
Entanglement. But what it boils down to is when you see Jada Pinkett Smith, she's kind of like she's beloved by the Black community. She's beloved by the Black community. She almost has this like, she has this almost perfect family in a way, you know, where this happens, and you root for the family, and for her to come over there and kind of skim over it. I felt like her viewers and her supporters kind of felt like, whoa, Jada, wait a second. You know what I'm saying? They kind of see that Jada's not
That's
perfect.
because the Smiths are really our black celebrity family.
Yeah.
Like there's no
Right.
other. The closest might be the Obamas, but you don't really know much about the daughters. It's Michelle and. But we know about Jada. We know about Willow. We know about Jada's mom. Like
that's the thing too. That's why I started off with the segue when we were talking. Is this? You have Jada Pinkett Smith. You have Will Smith. You have their whole family. Their celebrity family, and they had a situation happen in their family where Jada Pinkett had an affair, and it seems like I don't know. A relation. It looked like they were already kind of getting over it because it might have happened 2 years ago. It might have happened 3 years ago, and now it's kind of being rehashed. So the thing that always replays my mind is imagine being a celebrity. Y'all have all been in relationships. Yeah. You've all had a girlfriend. You might have went, or went the other way. Y'all talked about it in the room and it was either over or you decided y'all were going to work it out. Now imagine you have to do this on TV, not for y'all, for them.
Yeah.
It's just.
But did they have to? That's the real question. Like I felt like they didn't have to.
I think it forced their hand when you see the dude on the video.
Yeah. Yeah.
When August Alsina went on there with doing what he did, it kind of forced their hand. Because I don't think there would have ever been a red table without the August Alsina.
You're right, but I ask you this question. If August, he'd be saying some wild stuff and they never comment on it. You just never comment on it. 3 weeks, do you think we'd be talking about it still? The
Bloodhounds was already on the trail when he dropped the single, to Zoe's point. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They saw that little video and they saw her put her in the gift. They was like, is this true?
But they said, is it true? They didn't know. So it's
but
not like it's
he also didn't come out. He also didn't come out and say, hey, I was sleeping with Jada yet. You know what I mean?
But
true.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know if they had to. I feel like they're the type of people that if I just never say it, Will Smith's going to have a movie. Jada's going to have another table talk. And then it's just going to poof. You know what I'm saying? Like,
very
you're
true.
You're above
I wonder if Will wanted this. That's another perspective I said. I wonder if Will made her come to the table.
He got on her ass. You could tell
because
he had been getting on her ass for a week straight.
She could have picked anybody to interview her, and it was Will that interviewed. Mom's usually on there. She could have had a conversation with Mom about what happened, but Will was right there.
Yeah.
So
well, I think it directly involves him though.
Yeah, that's a fact. And I think one of the things I'll say is this, and this is my opinion. I don't think that they're back together like that. I think that they're a brand together. So Will's his own brand, but I think there's also a Will and Jada brand. And I think that it's like we talked about earlier. So like any company that you work for, I work for a huge company. Kennawayne, you work for a huge company.
Yeah.
When you work for a big company, the only reason that stature is able to remain upholding is because if I do something for if I do something that's against the policy for the company I work for, there's a system of checks and balances that no matter how well liked I am by my immediate superiors, I have to be fired and I have to be let go. And it's not because anybody hates me. It's because the only way that this brand stands is if the brand is bigger than all of us. If the CEO of my company says something, you gotta go. The board is saying, hey, you're a good CEO. Yes, you've gained us a lot of money. You got to go because the brand, the only way we can make this money train keep going is if the brand is over everything. And I think that it was a coming together of the brand. They're saying we're still good. I don't think they live together. I think they do shit apart. And I think they come together when they need to. Like
Zoe might be getting hired by Viacom soon.
Hey, right? I'm all about the brand now. I think that's what it is, bro. And I don't think that they're gonna. To Kennawayne's point, I don't think they needed to address it. I think they did it because Will bought it out. Henny, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I was about to say some shit. Yeah, so a nigga Will brought her to the table. Like that nigga said, he said, "I'm coming to the table to interview you." Like he wanted to know all what happened because obviously some shit was left out that they had to come and talk. Also, this conveniently was the shortest red table talk I didn't see when it was about her. That's crazy as hell. Double standard shit.
And it took a whole week to come out.
Exactly.
Like, where do you go for the next red table talk after this? August?
That's
exactly.
August, you stupid.
Bro, all you needed was a phone. All you needed was a phone and a phone tripod. I know they got a Galaxy S20 Ultra or an iPhone with the extra 4K 60 frames. You put that bitch up and you shoot it and then you edit it.
They could have did it easy. You see how Wayne be doing his interviews?
Yeah, man. Put that,
they could have did that easy.
Put all that out. Y'all know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna leave out August. August.
And also,
bitch.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get that out.
You don't like that, huh?
Will is a simp. Jada, we're gonna go get that all on the table right now.
He said, period.
Yeah, she didn't even make one mistake. Like, it wasn't even just like, oh, in the heat of the moment. No, she kept getting them inches. All the words. She wanted it, okay?
Last thing I'm gonna say is, hey, and I think everybody will agree with this. Y'all females need to remember. Y'all are not Jada Pinkett Smith. Y'all are not Jada Pinkett Smith. So when I see y'all sharing these memes and saying that, y'all aren't her, and we ain't Will.
Bro,
so
my Facebook had so many posts of entanglement.
Try that one.
And I reposted hella memes of Will. Like,
some of y'all gonna be entangled with homelessness, messing around.
Niggas trying to be wild out here, bro.
Shelters, but yeah, man, good talk, fellas. Hopefully, much luck to them if they are, back together or whatever's going on in their relationship.
I had to learn their ones if I was Jady.
Hey, for real, got to. August, come see me.
True.
Now, this is the part where we always get to, our 5-song rotation, just kind of let people know what's, in that Serato, man. Henny, what's going down in the old playlist these days, bro?
Go ahead and pull that whole
up. And it looks like Henny had a little technical difficulty, so Kennawayne, if you want to go ahead and read his list off.
Yeah, his black ass is in the corner down there. You just can't see him. His 5 songs were Juice WRLD, Wishing Well. He followed up with another Juice WRLD, Come and Go. Future, Riding Strikers. YG, that new song Swag. And he said his last one was Sada Baby, Little Boat, Courtside. So go check those out. He said he wished he could finish up the show, but he got that Section 8 internet. You know how that shit goes sometimes.
Those out.
Yeah, the 5 that I wanted to tell y'all. So there's one artist by the name of Rich the Goat. And he has a song called, what's Rich's song? He has so many, man. This is a talented dude out of Atlanta. He has a song called Down on My Last. Watch that music video on YouTube. I'm in it and help direct it. I play a policeman, so y'all gotta check that out. It's called Down on My Last by Rich the Goat. Another song I wanted y'all to go check out is by a dude named Drippy, GYP. DRIPPY space GYP. He did a Roddy Ricch remix to Tiptoe. Up and coming dude. His new project's gonna come out in the near future. Check him out. I recorded that song, mixed, mastered that song, and shot and edited the music video for it. That's on YouTube. There's another guy by the name of Cash Junkie, CASHJUNKY space baby, BABY. He has this is one of the hardest working artists I know. He has so many projects. He has a song called No Airballs. He has a song called No Confess. I shot 2 of his music videos on his YouTube as well. You can check those out. They were shot by me. I'm on 4 right now. Am I on 4?
You know we can't count.
Yeah.
Black.
Yeah, I think this is 4. Look up artist, throw a female in the mix. Her name's Ankar. ANYKAR. Again, ANYKAR. She's a Colombian artist. Super talented. I shoot all of her music videos, mix and record her stuff too. It's going stupid. It's live. There's another guy by the name of Young Zoo. He spells his Yung space ZU. His producer also works with Drake and them, and Roddy Ricch by the name of June the Genius. He has a record on there called Fire. Go check that one out. Akon's new stuff is dropping, his new rap album. Check that out for me because I mixed and recorded some of those. That's on there. But add those artists to your playlist, man. Everybody else is doing what, going to people that are highly publicized. Look up these artists. I'm telling you, they're up next. Their music is fire. They're super talented, and you won't be disappointed.
Bet.
Awesome. We will definitely make sure to do that. Great list. Kennawayne, go ahead and give us your 5.
Man, I'm going to start it off with Juice WRLD, Life's a Mess. I took a lot of these back this week. Killer, Nipsey Hussle featuring Drake. Oh Lord, Slim Thug. Stomp, Young Buck. I took that shit really back. And then 392 by Tory Lanez. I don't know if that's going to be his new sale number, but yeah, that shit hits.
Okay. Hey, fuck with it, man. I had to throw a Tory in there too. So I came out, my 5, I had Through the Wire, Rod Wave, man. And he does give a shout out to Kanye on that. Dope track. One of his newer singles.
That video.
Yeah.
I thought
video,
it was dope.
man.
They had the car that he wrecked in that bitch.
Yeah, crazy boy. But stay out of trouble, man. Stay alive. Shit. 2020's been wild enough. Then I had Juice WRLD, Stay High. Just had to drop that as well, just because I think that was a dope track. I did like The Adventures of Moon Man, the Kid Cudi and Eminem drop.
Yes.
Eminem, I don't have a lot of verses recently that I like of his, but
I love that shit.
It was a good one, man. So dope track, lived up to the billing. I did Tory Lanez, Dope Boy's Diary. So shout out to Tory Lanez, free the guy. Even though it's looking like he might have shot Meg, but free him anyway. That's what people say, right? Free him regardless of what you did. Free the guy. And then last I had Dying for Your Love, Snow Allegra. Dope single she released. Love Snow, super beautiful, super talented. And that's my 5. But this was a great episode. Lots of good talking, man. Y'all know we always do the outro just as we're going out, just to kind of give a little bit of time to just give a shout out to whatever you're doing, up and coming projects, shows you're watching, whatever. So as the special guest, Lonnie, it's only right we start that off with you. Go ahead and give us your spiel, man.
Man, short, quick. Try to keep this under time. But like I said, my name's Lonnie Rowe. Graduated from Full Sail University, man, with my degree in recording engineering. And I work out in Atlanta at like 6 different studios. Shout out Leslie Brathwaite, one of the best mixing engineers in the world. He gave me my shot. Shout out, all of the artists that I work with out there, all of the music that they're dropping, all of the projects that I'm involved with that's coming to people's TV, laptops, and everything near them. If you ever need a music engineer to record you, mix you, master you, shoot you a video, shoot your album covers, I'm your guy. You can find me on all of your social sites at Lonnie Rowe. Go to LonnieRowe.com, Instagram Lonnie Rowe, Twitter Lonnie Rowe. I make it easy for everybody. Everybody out there pushing for their dream, know that you got a supporter, even if you don't know me, because I'm doing the same. It can be a reality. All you got to do is give 100% effort. Shout out to Kennawayne who brought me on this show today. I had a great time. I'll be tuning into y'all podcasts and conversations in the future. Man, just love to everybody, man. Everybody stay safe. It's a crazy time right now with Corona, with injustice with police, and it's wild times, man. Guard your kids, keep your family safe, and God bless. I appreciate the time today, man.
Hey, glad to have you, man. Glad Kennawayne had you on. Kennawayne, man, why don't you go ahead next, bro?
Man, shout out to Henny. Nigga couldn't be here, but his darkness is in spirit inside of me. So I'm gonna have to, you know, for my brother. Shout out to Kiva. That's my frat. You know what I'm saying? We rocking with them niggas forever. But no, shout out to Lonnie, man. I appreciate you coming on here. I hit you up a while back. Said, hey man, I got a vision to be on. It's gonna take a while, road bumps, but them headhunters.
I like it, man. I like it. I like it, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I like it.
I appreciate all your fucking work you're doing, bro. You know I've supported you from the beginning.
I appreciate it.
Just keep grinding.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to go check out Tizzle Nizzle Propane Veins. That's my first video. I've rebranded kind of my poetry company from Style and Define to Style and Define Film. So we're just kind of under one little umbrella now, working on that. But shout out to everybody that supported us out there. Every watch, every listen, we really do appreciate it. Every comment, man, we actually listen. You know, I talk to Zoe all the time. Hey, this is in this. How can we work it from y'all? Because we ain't shit without y'all. So I mean, I could talk to myself, but shit, I look just as crazy as Zoe is looking at me half the episode. So shout out to everybody out there. Like, subscribe. Like Henny said, the shit is free. You don't have to pay to click a goddamn button. So support us, support Lonnie. I'm out.
Yes. Fact, man. Fact. And the last thing I would just say is, again, just reiterating that point, you know, gotta, you know, show a lot of love to everybody who's rocked with us so far. The comments, we love it. Keep it coming. We always talk about supporting, you know, up and coming artists, up and coming, you know, producers. So definitely make sure, you know, y'all tap into the things Lonnie's been talking about and, you know, support the guy as well. Again, you know, I know it's tough times. A lot of people dealing with anxiety, depression is on, you know, OD right now just because of this coronavirus and the lockdown. But, you know, keep your head in the game. If you need somebody to talk to, you know, there's always somebody willing to listen. So, you know, make sure, you know, you reach out to those who do care about you and love you the most. I'm about to be on that Ghost of Tsushima. So, you know, I definitely can't wait to go hit that up right now. But outside of that,
that's
man,
a PS4 game for you hood niggas out there.
Yeah, exclusive, you know.
I got
it's
both.
not 2K. There's more than 2K and Call of Duty out there, niggas.
Hey, let them know.
I got the PS4 and the Xbox. They hit me on the Warzone on my free time. I'm gunning.
Let's get on that COD, man. But yeah, man, we out of here. Keep showing the love. Appreciate everybody. One.
Appreciate you.